strictly NBA versus WNBA, bro. Let's talk this paper. I'm seeing and hearing too many people still having a very what I thought to be a very common sense conversation. That's what I thought. It seems as if it's not a common sense conversation or there's like another agenda behind all this commentary. So let's get into it, man. What am I talking about necessarily? Well, I'm talking about revenue, money. It seems as if a lot of the public is still confused as to why there's such a big gap between NBA salaries and WNBA salaries. Well, believe it or not, despite what Paul George and them may say, and all some of the other even WNBA players may say, this is pretty much why there's a big gap. So let's get into it. So, for starters, the most like the easiest thing I can think of off the top of my head, existence. The WNBA has been around, ain't been around that much longer than me. I'm 24 years old. Okay, uh, we can go pull up what year the WNBA came out. Feel me? We can go pull it up. It's public information. 1997. So me and the WNBA, or 96, excuse me, because at first they was a woman's counterpart. So 96. So the WNBA is the same age as my sister. The NBA has been doing this thing since the 50s, bro. You know, and they didn't merge with the ABA until the 70s. So, you're still talking about 50 plus years. Guys, you ever heard of the term old money? Well, old money just simply means that you were in business, in position to make more dollars than somebody else. Your money can't be old if you weren't in business a long time ago. NBA's been doing this. Even before the ABA got in the picture, the NBA had already stepped into that market full fledged and kind of dealt with majority of the struggles WNBA is dealing with right now. Like, let me give everybody a little bit of backstory. It's common sense, but common sense is not that common, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. All of the legends, the Bill Russell era, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar era, Jerry West and Elgin Baylor era, 60s and 70s, Oscar Robertson, Nate Archibald, hey, yeah, even Adrian Dantley era. Shout out to him. He from the town. Shout out to Dave Bing. He from the city. Those guys were big names. Earl the Pearl Monroe, big names. They probably did not work jobs in between the season, but more than 80% of the league, dog, they worked jobs in the summer. They worked jobs during the season. It was more so of a status thing to go and play professional basketball back in these days. When this is the founding era of the actual NBA that we know. Because the NBA before the ABA especially, yeah, those guys are out there for status, that this is the highest level of competing. It wasn't any kind of compensation, cash compensation to brag about before they merged with the ABA. Now, once they merged with the ABA, now this is the NBA that we know. And this is in the 70s, dog, because that merge happened in, I think, 76, 77. So this is in the 70s. Guys are still having to work jobs over the summer. Like, yeah, they may not need to work a job during the season, but the guys are still working jobs over the summer. And the reason being is because this is not enough paper to go around to feed their kids, feed their families, and still have to do all the travel they have to do. Because remember, travel is strenuous back then, man. They ain't got promo codes for your team to come and stay in the hotel for several nights, man. They ain't got packages and all this good stuff. And don't nobody got like round passes where you get a discount to go stay in these following cities at these following hotels and branches of hotels. Like Hilton hadn't bought a whole string of hotels and put out a bunch of hotels yet. Hyatt hadn't bought a bunch of hotels and put out a bunch of hotels yet. None of this had happened yet. All right, none of these things happened yet. Even the way agents do business. All of that stuff hadn't gotten there yet. So they had to go through those kinks. And guys wasn't getting no money, man. They probably making less than damn WNBA players for real. Because the cost of living, the value of the dollar here in the United States was totally different. So fast forward to 97, bro. 96. They say that's when the WNBA started. You want to know what is also in common around that time, about 2 years ago? The NBA goes into a lockout. Yes, goes into a lockout. Not just because they're paying guys too much. The WNBA is a part of the National Basketball Association. The budget had to get taken from the NBA to make a whole other league for women. Ironically, 2 years later, there's a lockout. Ironically. No, it's not ironic. There's no NBA basketball being played. Meanwhile, Lisa Leslie is dunking on cats. They're one and the same. They are one and the same. Um, it's just really a matter of one man not wanting to do too many jobs. So, like Adam Silver, I guess is technically commissioner of both, but like, does he want to feel and act like commissioner of both? No, bro. No. Do his work. And it's too much work. One man can only be in so many places at one time. So to make a commitment like that is pretty much that you're damning whoever it is that you're serving. You can only be in so many places at once. Teams. The second thing, 30 teams are in the NBA again. Most of that comes from the ABA. The merger definitely helped bring in cities like Washington. Helped bring in cities like New Jersey. To be honest, helped bring in cities like I know San Francisco was with the Warriors before Oakland came in the picture. Like all the hardcore cities, major cities that they consider major now, but they dangerous. Like we got in the NBA through the merger, right? Well, that was a market they didn't know what that market was going to bring, and a lot of those cities didn't stay afloat. I know St. Louis had a team at one point. I know Kansas City had a team at one point. I know Cincinnati had Royals for a long time. Uh, I want to say Kentucky had a team at one point. I want to say the Wizards first started out in Chicago as the Packers in the 50s. So, uh, as far they had, and when they took the Packers out of Chicago, I think they put the Bulls there in '59 or '62, one or the other. They had no idea. All of these cities, major markets, they were calling them major markets now because they've been major for 50 or 60 years. Nobody knew what was going to happen in the '70s when they're coming and putting headquarters in these cities, bro. Um, I'm pretty sure Atlanta was already in the mix. Minnesota, don't know how long Minnesota's been up there, but Minneapolis, period. Like nobody knew. It was a what if we gotta wait and see. Nobody knows. Um, they went through that case, man. A whole bunch of these NBA teams have gone out of business. Gone out of business. Like we can go pull up WNBA teams. I can go show you any expansion teams that they have. Indiana's pretty sure it's an expansion team. I could be wrong. The Aces are certainly an expansion team. Dallas is an expansion team. That's all I recognize right now. That's it. That's all they got. We got. The NBA has got crazy amounts of expansion teams. Majority because of how many teams go out of business. The team that's most recently went out of business in the NBA is the New Orleans Hornets. Exactly. See, these guys, I don't even understand what it is that's really going on in front of you. When you get a throwback jersey, when a team changes cities, when a team changes organizations, goes under a rebrand, it's normally because they're 60 years. Nobody knew what was going to happen in the '70s when they're coming and putting headquarters in these cities, bro. I'm pretty sure Atlanta was already in the mix. Minnesota, don't know how long Minnesota's been up there, but Minneapolis, period. Like nobody knew. It was a what if we gotta wait and see. Nobody knows. Um, they went through that case, man. A whole bunch of these NBA teams have gone out of business. Gone out of business. Like we can go pull up WNBA teams. I can go show you any expansion teams that they have. Indiana's pretty sure it's an expansion team. I could be wrong. The Aces are certainly an expansion team. Dallas is an expansion team. That's all I recognize right now. That's it. That's all they got. We got the NBA has got crazy amounts of expansion teams. Majority because of how many teams go out of business. The team that's most recently went out of business in the NBA is the New Orleans Hornets. Exactly. See, these guys, I don't even understand what it is that's really going on in front of you. When you get a throwback jersey, when a team changes cities, when a team changes organizations, goes under a rebrand, it's normally because they suffered a scandal, right? Or ownership has changed. And ownership changing is not the same as somebody going out of business. But specifically, the New Orleans Hornets went out of business, guys. Um, I don't know when's the latest. I mean, I know WNBA teams probably have went out of business, but you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it. Third thing, revenue, yearly revenue. I just looked it up. Last year, WNBA generated between 180 million to 200 million dollars. Well, that means their whole league only made enough money to go and sign a guy to like a max extension. See what I'm saying? A max extension. They've never cracked a $500,000. So how can we go and start paying people 120 here, $80 million here, $100 million here, and $100 million makes up for more than half of the whole freaking league's revenue, dog. Y'all are not counting. Count. They got $200 million in the whole league. They got 12 teams. I'm going to assume there's anywhere from 12 to 15 roster spots on 12 teams, which means they've got anywhere from 144 to 170 players in the league at all times. Yeah. Now do you see, like, numbers? It's all about math, man. Ain't nobody doing nothing wrong. Nobody, they not intentionally keeping the WNBA down. Just has not. The WNBA never saw these kinds of dollars in there. When I was a kid, boy, we thought WNBA was going to go out of business at the drop of a hat. Like the way the WNBA looks now, the way the revenue and the marketing kind of fanfare a lot of really good players get today, it's beautiful. If you was a real sports fan coming up in the early 2000s like me, you know that the WNBA was like it was like going to watch the Globetrotters. You know, it wasn't developed at all. It wasn't refined at all. Like this developed, refined. They got legends. They got several Hall of Famers now. You know, I don't think we no. I'm old enough. Yeah, these legends wasn't in the Hall of Fame yet when they were coming up. I got to see that. You feel what I'm saying? I had saw buku amounts of highlights of Lisa Leslie, bro, but it wasn't until they inducted her in the Hall of Fame where I saw her dunk. Which brings me to my fourth point: marketing. Marketing. Now I don't know how much the WNBA spends on marketing. They're definitely spending more on marketing today than they used to, but the NBA spends too much money on marketing. Probably like over the past 30 years. Too much money on marketing. The NBA is taking big risks like the NFL, like trying to really sway and move public opinion, man. And that's a dangerous game to play. You guys are really got to be careful what you ask for. The WNBA players have the beauty of going. First of all, let me go see how many games they play, because they can't even play that many games. They only got 12 teams. You know, there's no way they're playing 36 games. I mean, there's no way they're playing 82 games. They're playing 36 games. If it's a 36 game season, you how on earth do you want to get paid like somebody who's playing 82 games? Now, if you're saying, hey, we can play 82 games as well, how are you gonna do that? 12 teams, man. You gonna have like a series, like a 10, like an 8 game series against every team in the league? Like, no, bro, no. Be glad they've given you 36. That's an expansion. This is only 12 teams. If you guys really want more money in the WNBA, you keep saying what they deserve. Let me make this very clear. It is not about what anybody deserves. It's not. It's not about what anybody deserves, bro. Because I'm gonna keep it real. 80% of the league, the NBA, don't deserve these big old checks they got. So if it was about what they deserve, bro, the books in the NBA will look totally different. So don't even use that word. Don't leave your feelings out of it. Leave it strictly at the feet of math, right? We need more investors in the WNBA. Investors, guys that are or women who are willing to take a risk. Because I think the fifth thing is who was you if you buy an NBA team and you can't turn that into profit, they're going to dump that on you. Because again, the marketing is already there. It's already halfway done for you. All you gotta do is get the talent. Half the time you ain't even gotta win. Like all you do is you get some talent, get somebody to put behind the seats. You know what I'm saying? The WNBA needs more investors, people with money that see where they can contribute with their dollars and then make a profit. Because nobody, I don't know if anybody's really making donations these days, but people who can come in and make an impact with their dollars and then they can see a return on that. Um, but they just got to raise the revenue stream, man. They've got to raise the marketing. They've got to raise the awareness. Uh, you know, that's what they got to do, for real. If y'all want to spread the salaries bigger, and the only reason I know this is because I was trying to go and line my company up to go and buy a semi-pro team. You know, a basketball league here in the United States. You know what I'm saying, semi-pro. And I was gonna go buy a team, man, but then I seen the salary cap policies they got for the league, and it's kind of crazy. Like that's how I pretty much learned how all of this works on a much larger scale. You know, because I was like, salary cap is ridiculous. Like even if we're making well above this is all I'm allowed to pay my guys. Like we're not going to be able to keep any players like this, bro. They can't feed them. They can't barely feed themselves, and they got kids, man. They're just going to go wherever the money goes. We're never going to have a consistent roster, guys. And that's fact. So, like, in the WNBA, bro, it's the same thing. You get picked, you get signed, or you come over, whatever. But they are only allowed, the teams are only allowed to pay their players a certain amount because the league only makes a certain amount. There is no salary cap flexibility in the WNBA either. There is no luxury. They don't have luxury tax cap, period. They haven't gotten to that point. You know, a team going into the luxury can put the WNBA out of business. They're only allowed to pay their players a certain amount because the league only makes a certain amount. There is no salary cap flexibility affordability in the WNBA either. There is no luxury. They don't have luxury tax cap, period. They haven't gotten to that point. You know, a team going into the luxury can put the WNBA out of business. You understand what I'm saying? We need more high rollers to start buying teams, investing in teams, or just straight up investing in the league so that way they can raise the salary cap. You know, because they've already raised it though. They ain't like they ain't raised it when I was a kid. Uh, you know, you saw players for the Mystics like walk down gallery, go for SBC, go see somebody play for the Mystics. They get, you know what I'm saying? They was regular people, literally. Now there is some status associated with WNBA. The money is probably better, but still not enough. I think the biggest thing is when players like hear about when WNBA players are talking to NBA players, even talking to NBA prospect college players, they are probably getting better quality of treatment, equipment, and resources than the professionals. That's probably where all this conversation comes from. And that is the only part where I'll really say like it's probably just bias in the sense of popularity and like namesake. Um, like where I'm from, even in high school, nobody played that. Like people fought for that. They were very vocal about that. If the boys soccer program had something, you know, if we had soccer balls and we got 20 and the girls have five, well, it's a gimme that we'll give them 5 to 10. You know, like we just, you know, people. Even if we wanted to be stingy, wanted to be acting like that, ain't nobody really going for it. Like equality is mandatory where I was at. All the places I've ever competed, um, it's mandatory in terms of resources. Results are results. Results are based on the players, but as far as resources, things that are used to prepare and stay, you know what I'm saying, up to date, everybody's supposed to have the same thing. And being as though the WNBA is an umbrella league under the NBA, I feel as though the NBA should probably step in more. They should probably, like, yeah, under the table, behind closed doors, like more say, hey, you know, you guys are doing a good job. We like what's going on. We like your growth. But we think this will exponentially help you in the following areas with your revenue. You know, we believe this may exponentially help you in the development of this league to expand to more teams. Because I'm going to keep it real. They don't need 30 teams, but they're going to need more than 12. They're going to need about 16 to 20. It's got to be an even number. But they're going to need about 16 to 20 to really go ahead and start pushing for a billion. The NBA is making several $billion a year. There's more than enough to go around. They are making more money when teams go into luxury tax because they're getting that back in tax time. And if you don't pay your penalties, you're going out of business. See what I'm saying? Going out of business. You got to pay your penalties. Um, the Boston Celtics, they gonna find that out. Yeah, Jaylen Brown just got to be his contract in their history, but they just went an extra $21 million over their salary cap out, and it was already $23 million over. There are penalties for that. You know, these are things that the WNBA can't even afford to start getting into. They will go out of business. You understand? They've invested in the video game. They've invested in what else? Yeah, they gotta do more marketing, bro. Yeah, the video game going on. Got to upgrade the TV deal too. And that's it, man. Just keep letting the basketball play out. Right now, they're hooping. Quality of basketball wise, this is the best product they probably have had in life. got so many good players breaking out, girls getting opportunities, and putting on a show. Everybody's not capitalizing on what they're doing, but there's way more like breakout players, hungry players than there were when I was a kid. When I was a kid, these were women at work. You know what I mean? Now you got hungry athletes, and that's what's going to take them where they're trying to go. Everything's okay though. They're going to get to where they're trying to go. The basketball is more than pure enough. Eventually, there is going to become like a real debate, like which basketball is better. Eventually, because women have always been able to hoop. It's just the politics and the nuances of having to be a professional athlete as a woman as opposed to a man is what's always held that league back. You know, for example, if you're pregnant in the WNBA, you know what that means, right? You're out for the season. You know what I'm saying? Men don't got to worry about that. You know, a lot of guys' lives are totally different if they had to give birth during their career, man. So that's really that there. You know, WNBA is not that far behind. They're more than trending in the right direction, dog. More than trending in the right direction. I remember when the average salary in WNBA was $45,000. I remember when the MLS averaged more money than the WNBA. You know, so